well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday, happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna today. Hopefully you got a little bit of second today. We're gonna start with dog sitting. I think obviously that's the focus, but I'm definitely realizing um but I realized like, hey, I know they said, hey, you don't have to check on the cats. They're in their room, more or less an enclosure situation until Wednesday. You check on them Wednesday, make sure their litter is good. That's all you really need to do. You're good, bud. And I'm like, all right, bet. One of them sounds like a little prisoner. And mainly, I just want to make sure that their food is good. I want to make sure everything's fine. It should be easy to just poke in and out, and be good with that, right? I was wrong. This is the door, and the little one that's been meowing immediately bolts out. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, that's not good. I'll have to get him. The older one, which, if you don't remember from when I initially mentioned the older cat, he's more reserved. He's chilling. He's looking at me, and I'm like, hey. And I kind of like go back up to him, and he proceeds to hiss at me immediately. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know it. I knew you didn't like me. I know. Now this is like 100% confirmed. Great. Anyway, I got to get your little brother. Backs himself away from me as I try to come to him at first, but then immediately goes, well, and I'm like, oh no, we have an ape escape situation. I don't know, about 15, 20 minutes trying to wrangle him. Obviously, the big cat is the issue. It's the harder one. Like the small him up and plop him back in. We're good to go. The I then proceed to leave, and then I realize that like the porch light is on, and I'm like, like maybe they just had it on and forgot about it. Small thing. I'll fix that, right? I go to hit the little thing on the light, and pull it, it won't turn off. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm just chilling on this person's porch, not my porch, and I'm just like pulling on this chain, and it's just not doing anything. And I look like a crazy person, I'm sure. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. We'll try tomorrow. We'll figure this out tomorrow. Proceed to go home, get some sleep, come back. Um, Fan's still going. I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll deal with that later. I go in, let the dogs out. But before I do that, I immediately see the big cat is chilling. He's chilling with the dogs. He's chilling with the big dogs. And I'm like, oh no. Like, because that means I failed. It means I failed. I did not get the big cat back in the enclosure. He like hops off the table, looks back at me, and like we both know that we're not doing this. It's over with that. Nah, cut that bullshit out. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. Just get out of here. And I proceed to handle the dogs. Everything's fine. The little cat, he's chilling. He's not too mad at me. It seems like he's maybe a little apprehensive of me, a little scared of me, but doesn't hate me. I also had to chase him around the house, but overall, it's all good. It's all love between me and the little cat. Um, we get everything done, and I've kind of just come to the conclusion, like, look, these cats are just out of the enclosure. They're cats, though. As long as they don't fuck up anything, then I should be fine. All right, we can just kind of endure this, and everything will be okay. I hope. Knock on wood. That's pending. Anyway, we get done with all that. I'm a little frazzled, but whatever. Let's get to work, right? We get to work. We're on this modified work schedule. That being said, I come in, shit is already hitting the fan. The dumpster that I had mentioned from last weekend is still down. The trash compactor is still down. Rumpke hasn't even come yet to assess the situation. So I'm like, okay, great, awesome. Love that for me. Love that for us. Love that we're going to be surrounded by trash all day. It's going to be so stinky. Yay. I'm in my laments about that, but whatever. We keep it moving. I want to say about 2-3 hours. I mean, not even that. Maybe around 1 or 2 hours in. The maintenance guys, and I got to give them credit, they rally. Like after the Rumpke guy comes and assesses the situation, they rally and they go, okay, we have to dig into this trash compactor, get under it, and then like take like a sledgehammer or something and like do some like bending of something to fix it. And that's what these fucking, warriors do. These warehouse warriors is what I'm gonna call them today. And they get in the muck, they get in the mire, and they fix that shit. And it's up and running. So kudos to them for that. They did that mainly because, yes, it's their job, because maintenance kind of makes you a jack of all trades in this situation. And of course, my dumbass is maybe like my dear listeners, y'all not dumbasses, but you're wondering, well, didn't you say Rumpke came? Why didn't they fix it, right? Isn't that their problem? Well, the way this works is the one cardboard dumpster that I usually work, that is technically all 100% Rumpke's. They collect it, they recycle the cardboard, and like they get a kickback, which then we still have to pay them for the pickup, but it's technically less. The other one, the composite trash pickup, is technically all ours. That whole dumpster is our dumpster. We have to, I don't know if we pay them more or less, I haven't really asked that question, but like essentially any onus on it, any problem, we have to fix. We have to contract someone to fix. Maybe we have to pay Rumpke extra for them to send someone to fix it, I guess. I don't know. But if we have the maintenance ability to do it, then we do it. So they hopped on the line. They made it happen. Hell yeah. I also found out that the higher ups are giving them like paid lunches for the rest of the week. And I'm like, hell yeah, they deserve it. Because they literally came out looking like Pigpen. Also funny, because we were all joking about it. And he's like, yeah, they said I could go home and wash up and come back. And I was just like, that's not worth it. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not worth it? You're covered in shit, bro. Like, what are you saying? Like, plus, you could fuck off the half the time, come back, you're still getting paid. Like, what do you mean? You're still getting the free lunches? Bro, that's an L. You fucked up. You looking crazy right now, but whatever. Once again, kudos to them. Post that, though, the day moves along quite well, if I do say so. Everything was fine. Everything was irie. We came in an hour later. So like in a certain kind of way, it felt like the day was shorter. So yeah, it's all good from there. At least for the work part. Post work, going right back to the dog sitting situation. Like I'm trying to hit it like 3 times a day, check in. And I come in and I'm a little worried, right? I'm worried that maybe my mistake of the cat getting out is going to lead to some kind of catastrophe. They're going to tear up the whole house or whatever. I'm thinking the worst case scenarios, right? And I come in, everything's fine, seemingly. I go to where the dogs are usually hanging out to like let them outside. Only one of the dogs is there. And I'm like, that's different from before, but okay, whatever, all right. And I proceed to let one of the dogs out. And then I look down the stairs and I see the other dog. And the other dog's older. They're both big dogs. But the other dog is older and he's just kind of like staring back up at me from the stairs. And I'm like, hey boy, come on up. Come on. and he's kind of trying and he's kind of whimpering, and I go, uh-oh, oh no. And I realize, especially it fully hits for me when I see him try to clamber up the stairs and he just slides back down. And I'm like, oh, Houston, we have a problem. This dog cannot get up the stairs. He's too old. How did you get down here? Why did you come down here? And I proceed to become a motivational dog life coach. And I get down there with him. I'm hyping him up and I'm saying, hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to give you some pets. We're going to walk around here in the basement for a second, get our energy up, and then we're going to try again. We tried a couple of times and we got up the stairs. And I was like, oh, yes. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Good boy. You're such a good boy. Go poop. Go poop now. Awesome. You made it. This is so great. Yay. And I feel good. I'm like, we're doing it. But then it dawns on me, where's the cat? Where's the big cat? And I don't know. I don't know, y'all. My dear listeners, that is my big concern now. Everything is okay, but I do not know where that cat is. Now, I'm assuming the cat is just being a cat. And because we had the tussle last night where I tried to wrangle him, he hates me. And he looks at me like an enemy. And he wants to hide from me like a shadow. I don't know. But, I just hope that I haven't fucked up in some way that this cat, somehow made an escape. Maybe there's some secret way out of the house that I don't know about. I don't know. I'm thinking the worst right now. So vibes up for me, send me your energy. I don't know, say a prayer that this cat is A-okay and I eventually will see him before week's end so that I can at least relax, because I'm very scared and tight about that. I have a tight butthole about it. That being said, after that, everything has been good. Also, we watered the plants, seemingly okay. Hopefully they're still kicking, still growing. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's good. Oh, and the ceiling fan thing. I found the switch for that. So I'm like, okay, at least we can just kill it. We can just kill the power there. Everything's fine. Awesome. But once again, the cat is the only thing on my mind at this point. I'm very scared about the cat being MIA. But I'm assuming he's just being a cat that hates me now. And that just is what it is. But that is the situation so far. I'm going to keep y'all posted. Man, house sitting, dog sitting, yeah. The things I do for love, I don't know. Well, at least love and appreciation. You know what I mean? Promises made, promises kept. A favor is a favor. I'm that type of guy. What can I say? Anyway, that's been my day. So I've had a lot on my mind. Oh, I didn't even talk about the gym. After that, I went to the gym. Gym was super fucking busy. I didn't get all the machines that I wanted. Made the best of it. I'm okay with it. It is what it is. So there we go. I've spent too long yapping. This episode is longer than I would like it to be. So let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's try to just get through the news. I hate to say it, but as fast as I can, because I do have to go back to the dogs and the cats. And the plants. Oh, gosh, I'm doing so much. I've become like super uncle overnight, and it's almost overwhelming for me. But overall, though, it has been a good day. I know that I feel like I'm doing the thing that I do almost every Monday, where I come in and I spend the whole day thinking about something that is wrong, big or small, and I make it the biggest thing of my fucking life until I get it fixed, until I get it worked out. I hate how my brain works sometimes. It's so anti me. I don't just work with me, not against me. Also, my pet allergy, my dandruff allergies to like the cat and dog dandruff, whatever. Oh, I'm sneezing at random times. I get congested. I feel it. So y'all, just bear with me. It's only Monday. God damn. But I will say, love those dogs. They're cuties. They're cute little gentlemen, and I love them. At this point, I think I would take a bullet for them dogs already. Oh man, I'd be like, is like being like, because don't get me wrong, I've had a cat before, but like a cat is a cat, right? Like it does its own thing. Like, yo, I was getting hyped to see these guys take little poops. I was like, oh yeah, you got it, bud. You're taking that little shit. Let's go. I'm like, is this what owning a pet is like? I've forgotten. I don't know. It's funny. Anyway, starting off with the Associated Press. Explosion at U.S. steel plant in Pennsylvania leaves 1 dead, 1 missing, and 10 injured. An explosion at a U.S. steel plant near Pittsburgh left 1 person dead and at least ten to hospitals Monday, and heavily damaged the sprawling facility, with emergency workers still searching the badly charred rubble for a missing worker, officials said. 1 worker was pulled from the wreckage hours. Oh my god, these fucking ads are in the way. Hours after the explosion sent black smoke spiraling into the midday sky in the Mon Valley. Excuse me. A region of the state synonymous with steel for more than a century. Allegheny County Emergency Services said a fire at the plant started around 10:51 a.m. A search and rescue effort was still active on Monday afternoon, and and officials said the cause of the explosion was still under investigation. The explosion, followed by several smaller blasts, could be felt in the nearby community and prompted county officials to warn residents to stay away from the scene so emergency workers could respond. It felt like thunder, Zachary Boudet, a construction worker near the scene, told WTAE-TV. Shook the scaffold, shook my chest, shook the building. And then when we saw the dark smoke coming up from the steel mill and put 2 and 2 together, and it's like something bad had happened. It's also worth noting this is not the first time that the steel mill has gone down, has had a big moment like this. Let's see here. What else did I want to pull? There was a resident that also talks about like, oh, I was able to leave, like I had the means to, get out. And I felt like I really needed to. When I saw the smoke, I could smell something, and I was just like, yeah, we got to get out of here. Which definitely reminded me of East Palestine, the Ohio situation we covered, I think, what was it, about a year or 2 ago. Almost very similar to that, when you have like a moment of like, okay, there's this big explosion, what's going on? I want to make sure that I need to take care of me and mine, of course. But it's like, well, where do you go? What do you do? Let's see. This is an important note. Bukiso said the company, now a subsidiary of Japan-based Nippon Steel Corp., is working with authorities. He also said search teams were still looking for 1 person who was missing. They think they know the general location of that person, but weren't sure, he said. So we'll be definitely coming back to that. Also, speaking of things we're coming back to actually in this episode, is the steel deal. I remember talking about it top of the year, I think, into last year maybe. Campaign stuff. Biden was talking about it. Trump was talking about it. I guess a deal got done, and it just went over my head because I don't think we covered it on the pod. So gonna get to that in a bit, but it's tied to another story that I want to talk about. So we'll get there. We will get there. But like I said, we still got to figure out what caused this for sure. Let's see. I want to go back on some of these prior explosions. A maintenance worker was killed in an explosion at the plant in September 2009. In July of 2010, another explosion injured 14 employees and 6 contractors. According to online OSHA records of workplace fatalities, the last death at the plant was in 2014 when a worker was burned and died after falling into a trench. After the 2010 explosion, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA that we just mentioned, fined U.S. Steel and a subcontractor $175,000 for safety violations. U.S. Steel appealed its citations and $143,500 in fines, which were later reduced under a settlement agreement. We love a settlement. Deal's a deal, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if this is all something that's kind of connected, and this winds up maybe being like some kind of negligence to a criminal degree. I don't know if this is just a fluke accident. But I imagine we'll be coming back to the story at some point to maybe, extrapolate further, have more details. But let's move on to another story from the Associated Press. Shooter kills 3 in a Target parking lot in Austin, Texas, before being captured, police say. A gunman opened fire Monday in the parking lot of a Target store in Texas's capital, killing at least 3 people before stealing 2 cars during a getaway that ended with police using a taser to detain him on the other side of the city, authorities said. Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis said the suspect is a man in his 30s with a mental health history. Davis said the suspect fled the scene in a stolen car, wrecked that car, then stole another from a dealership. He was captured about 20 miles or 32 kilometers away in South Austin, where he was taken into custody, she said during a news conference. Let's see. Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services Chief Robert Luckritz said two people were pronounced dead at the scene, and one person was taken to a hospital where they were pronounced dead. He said another person was treated on the scene for unrelated injuries. It is crazy that the suspect was able to make all of that movement, two car robberies all in one motion. But also another thing that was crazy, and in some ways, obviously, not to say that I'm happy that the for the shooter or anything like that, but at least the police officer showing some semblance of like protocol restraint and not just immediately gunning down the suspect, but like actually saying, hey, I have a taser, I'm going to use a taser, and detaining the suspect. I don't know. For some reason, maybe it's the times, whatever. Maybe I'm jaded. I was just surprised to like see like, oh wow, the cop actually whipped up the taser, used it effectively. Okay, didn't just like kill them. So, hey, there is that. Let's see here. Yeah, that's really all I wanted to mention from the story. Obviously, condolences to the lives lost there. If there are more details, excuse me, we will be coming back to the story, of course. But let's go ahead and move on to some Trump-related stuff. I mentioned this yesterday, and there's already updates on it. Trump moved a little bit quicker than I expected, I guess. From Yahoo News, Trump invokes the Home Rule Act to take control of Washington, D.C. police. What the act says he can and can't do. When President Trump announced Monday that he was bringing the Washington, D.C. Police Department under federal control in order to crack down on what he described as crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor in the nation's capital, he cited Section 740 of something called the Home Rule Act as the legal mechanism. Effective immediately, the mayor of the District of Columbia shall provide the services of the Metropolitan Police Force for the federal purposes for the maximum period permitted under the Section 740 of the Home Rule Act. I believe that gives him 48 hours to do this, but he can extend that up to 30 days. I think he needs Congress's approval, but also it's worth noting that the way this works, he can supersede it because he has more or less Congress in pocket. So he can just have Congress rule in a way to make changes however he wants, either to the Home Rule Act in terms of just getting rid of it, potentially just making it so it's like, hey, I will elect like 5 individuals or something, and they will run DC for me or how I see fit, whatever. But essentially he's saying this crime is so bad, which is crazy because the numbers are like they're much lower. I think they're lower than they ever have been since like 2023 or something like that. And I'm just kind of pulling that without reading it here. But he's saying, oh, it's so bad. I can't even get to my golf course without seeing all this crime. It's so gross. A Doge employee. Let's see. Trump has cited the August 3rd beating of Edward Corstine, whatever, a 19-year-old software engineer at the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, during an attempted carjacking. Also, fun fact, he goes by Big Balls online, and he's a piece of shit. But whatever. Let's see here. But yeah, apparently they're bringing it into crime. This is the stat I was trying to remember or recall. In reality, violent crime has been declining in the district since 2023, according to the Washington Post. It's currently at its lowest point in 6 years. Juvenile crime has been failing too. So far this year, DC police have made about 900 juvenile arrests. The Post reports almost 20 fewer than during the same time frame last year. So yeah, I mean, he's just saying, "Oh, it's crime." I think he's also doing the thing where you kind of say, "Oh, all this homeless is a reason for this crime," which is not fair to do. It's a fucked up like what dog whistle to essentially say, "Oh, you guys are the reason for this crime, and we need to do something about the homelessness." Because if we do something about homelessness, then naturally we deal with the crime. Really, people who are homeless, people who are transient, often are unhoused, whatever word you want to use. Not trying to be offensive, if you are unhoused, you are most likely to be the victim of a crime. You are the most likely to have to endure a crime, have to make the most of the worst situation. In a situation where in DC, I think some of the rent minimums are like $2,300, $2,300. That's USD, man. Like it is so hard to make means like that work. And it's so easy to wind up on the streets. And now you're going to be a victim of the Trump administration for what? Trying to exist? Because Big Balls got his fucking ass beat. No, like that's fucked up. I'm sorry. It's a fucked up situation. It's crazy that once again we have the Trump administration just slamming an iron fist on the table saying, "You're gonna do what I want. I'm gonna fucking make something happen and you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it." It once again feels like it's him sending a message. It's him using his power to say, I can go to any one of these little liberal bastions and do whatever the fuck I want, one way or another. So best believe if I think your crime is bad here, I'm going to say it's bad there, and I'm going to fucking fix it. Fix it. Put that in quotations. All right. I'm kind of rambling on here. So let's go ahead and move on to our next bump, our next story. It's from Bloomberg, but they would have fucking paywalled me, so we're gonna say it's from Yahoo Finance. I'm gonna blow my nose. I need to. At least I felt like I did. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. Trump bid for cut of chip revenue risks dangerous world. Nvidia Corp and Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD Incorporated, agreed to pay the U.S. government 15% of revenue from some chip sales to China. The chips, Nvidia's H2O or H20 AI accelerator and AMD's MI308 chips, were earlier banned by the Trump administration and require export licenses to sell. To call this unusual or unprecedented would be a staggering understatement, said Stephen Olson, a former U.S. trade negotiator, now with the Singapore-based ISEA, Yusof Ishak Institute. What we are seeing, in effect, is the monetization of U.S. trade policy in which the U.S. companies must pay the U.S. government for permission to export. If that's the case, we've entered a new and dangerous world. When I was listening to this on the BBC, they essentially described it as like it's the U.S. becoming almost like a third party to a deal. Like there are constitutional stops to that, because essentially this could be looked at as an export tax, which you're not allowed to do. Like you're not allowed to like dip into a transaction like that. But this falls in line with not just the Trump administration, but also the Biden administration in terms of saying, hey, we've got to quote unquote do something about China. We have to stop China and this AI arms race that we have. So we are going to limit the access they have down to the chips that they can get. So my dumbass, I'm like, okay, actually now that I'm thinking about it, kind of like putting everything together, I'm like, oh, I wonder, are these just the old chips? Like, because initially they had this rule saying like, oh, you could only sell older chips to them. But no, this has kind of been a grand machination plan from the owner of Nvidia and also other businesses saying, hey, you need to actually, instead of trying to hamper China and getting in the way, you need to open it up to them. And thus, you're going to make this all happen faster. Like the whole arms race is actually a good thing for everyone. And as long as we stay ahead of China, we will be ahead of China. Like that is the logic I think that's been pitched to him. And the Trump administration is like, okay, we will change tact a little bit, but we want a take. And it's like, what do you mean you want to take? You already have like the tariffs and shit. Like that's already pretty stinging. You're already getting a cut there. And it's like, no, we want more. It's the only way to make this right. And don't get me wrong, I think Nvidia knew that. They came to make this deal. And it's a smart call for them because overall they're making so much fucking money. I know I did a story saying like, oh, they took a hit with the DeepSeek shit. They have more than bounced back. Like they are making money. I don't think I covered it, but I think they are back on top, making like $1 trillion or some shit. A lot of money for some chips. I hope they're tasty. No, that's a bad joke. Anyway, this is a big deal. We don't know if it's going to get fully cemented. It might be opposed or what have you, but either way, it's a big deal and it's a big sea change in how we are doing things, for sure. Also, since I mentioned tariffs, and I didn't mention this the last time that we talked about tariffs, breaking news. China has another deadline extension. He keeps kicking the can on that shit. He's still tacoing on that a little bit, being a little scared, a little spooky, but I think that's just the way that this is. I think he wants to keep it, I think it's at currently 30%. And he doesn't want to hit him any harder. Like, this works, and they're not fighting it. We've accepted this. Okay, I'll just keep it going, keep it moving. But it's alleged, it's been talked about, that from these tariffs already, we've made billions of dollars. At least that's what the Trump administration is saying. That's what some economists are saying. Like, at least in terms of estimates, like billion, like over 200, I think 62 or something like that. I don't know. That's the number I'm kind of pulling out of my brain. But lots of money apparently being made over these tariffs. What's going to be done about it? Two things I have heard. Obviously, not concrete, not solidified yet. This is just ideas that is being kicked around. But one is paying towards the debt that we have. Once again, talking trillions, big number. Now, billions is not trillions, obviously, so that's not really a fun, sexy thing to do. When you have your credit card stuff, you don't go, damn, I just got this like windfall. I just made like a big, money boost moment. Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna go put this into my credit card. But that's what you should do, right? That's the smart call. Like, you know what I mean? That would be good for your interest and all that blah blah blah. Gotta. That's the frugal thing to do. Option 2 that has been mentioned, and I think you're gonna love this. A tariff fucking check. He's gonna send out tariff checks. That's being talked about. Now, don't get excited. Do not, because one, this is just being talked about. It's being floated. Two, if it does happen, this goes the exact same way as that sweet stimmy that you got. And it's gonna feel really cool to get, and you're gonna be like, God damn, this is so cool. Ooh, money now. I love it. Money, please. But then guess what? The economy is going to fucking get ripped for that. It's not going to help at all. So, do we really want a tariff check? I say no. I don't. I mean, obviously my broke ass does in the moment, because this tariff shit is not a short moment. Like, and I'm glad that economists are like saying this shit, like, especially now that it's all kind of hitting. It's like, good, bad, otherwise, you have to understand that the way we are now doing things with the tariffs, like tariff-like sanctions, it's hit a new way, and it's not going to stop like for years to come, maybe even like decades to come. Because once again, I just mentioned that $1 billion number that we're making from these tariffs. One way or another, Donald Trump is right. We will make money off of that. So, ergo, even if this motherfucker gets dethroned, even if we fucking have a woke liberal or whatever, Kamala Harris 5,000, whatever, that motherfucker is not going to want to turn off the spigot. Congress is not going to want to turn off the fucking spigot. They're going to be like, it's fine. It's actually okay. We'll make it work. Maybe we'll make a little change here or there, but like overall it'll stay the same. Which is not surprising, because no matter what, whether you're left or you're right, money is controlling the fucking conversation. And if it's getting in the way of that, it doesn't matter if you're old Joe or you're old Donald. You want to make some money. You want to make some money in your term. That's for sure. So that is sadly a true thing. But yeah, this is a big deal. So I wanted to talk about that. Anyway, let's move on. From ABC News, judge rejects Trump administration's request to unseal grand jury testimony in Ghislaine Maxwell case. A federal judge in New York has denied the Trump administration's motion to unseal grand jury testimony from the criminal case against Jeffrey Epstein, associate Ghislaine Maxwell. The Trump administration has been seeking to release materials related to the investigation to Epstein, the wealthy financier and convicted sex offender who died by suicide in jail in 2019, following the blowback it received from MAGA supporters after it announced last month that no additional files would be released. They were too icky. Ugh, all that data that we said, all those gigabytes of data that we had, that we were like, we're going to give them, it's actually full of this really gross stuff that you don't want to see. I mean, true, but people do want to see all the connections. They want to see all the names. They want to see all the stuff. And they're like, we're not going to show you that. We're not going to talk about that. No, 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 no. In his 31-page opinion, U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmayer of the Southern District of New York criticized the Department of Justice for using demonstrably false reasoning to justify the release of grand jury testimony. The transcripts would not reveal new information of any consequence about Epstein and Maxwell's crimes, according to Judge Engelmayer, who suggested that the Trump administration's push to release documents might be an intentional diversion. Which may be true. I don't know, like what's in the head of the Trump administration in terms of like how badly they want this release, or if this is just an olive branch to give to the people to say we are trying, we're doing our best, even though we told you there's nothing to share, like there's nothing to see here, which is crazy from an administration that campaigned on there's definitely something to see here. The woke left is hiding it from you, and we're gonna unveil it, and then you go, nah, it's just icky stuff. It's just icky stuff. You wouldn't want to see it. It's no good. Also, it's not mentioned in this article. I should have this information at the ready. I don't have any update in terms of if they're going to release the interview transcripts that what was it, Todd Blanche had with Ghislaine Maxwell. Though, she said nothing untoward about Trump, at least so they say, which, okay, of course you fucking wouldn't when you have this kind of chance to get out of jail potentially, or get into a minimum security prison camp that you should not be able to get to because you're a fucking sex offender. So, yeah, I would get why you'd be like, yeah, no, Trump was cool. He was a vibe guy. Sorry, you might not like his vibe. Yeah, of course you're going to say something to that effect. He did nothing criminal. I never saw that. Oh, no. Not my old friend Donald. Bullshit. So, yeah, I don't think people are really taking to this one way or another, whether this was going to get unsealed or not. It just seemed like a move that people wanted, that the Trump administration wanted to make to kind of like throw people off. Hence, like what the judge said, a diversion. So, worth mentioning, there's more details here, but, we're on a bit of a time crunch. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to our last story. Excuse me. We have an update coming out of Colombia. Actually, this is our second time talking about Colombia this week, or at least in this week's cycle. Anyway, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we gotta close the story on Miguel Uribe. Oh boy. I know it's about to be a hectic 5-6 days, 5.5 days for me. But so it goes. It's going to be all right. I'm also having problems with my charge pack too, but that's for another time. Oh, man. Okay. From BBC News. Colombian Senator Miguel Uribe dies 2 months after being shot. Colombian Senator and presidential hopeful Miguel Uribe has died 2 months after being shot in the head in a targeted attack which shocked the South American nation. The 39-year-old was hit by 3 bullets, 2 of them in the head and 1 in the leg at a campaign rally on June 7th in the capital, Bogota. His wife confirmed his death on social media, paying tribute to the love of my life. A teenager has been arrested on suspicion of carrying out the shooting, but the motive behind the attack is still unclear. Now, I didn't know that they had found him. I think they found him fleeing with a gun. Now, they don't really have the motive like they said, but some suspicion, some speculation is that maybe he was contracted by someone, like, like a gang kind of thing, to do a hit on Uribe, to send a message, what have you. Now, maybe you might be wondering why I'm so flippant. He was popular in the polls and recognized as an up-and-coming figure in the right-wing Democratic Center Party, known for his outspoken criticism of the current left-wing president, Gustavo Petro. And this isn't me running any kind of defense for Petro. I don't really know or care. It's just, I don't like anybody from that fucking side. That's just how it is for me. Though I know it's one of those things where I find myself, this is a bit of a side, not really related. But like, let's say when we're talking about cops, we're talking about, people, who are just here making your life miserable, shitty, doing shit, dumb propaganda and, to get their way. And it's fucked up. It's hard to like have condolences in your heart for those kind of people, right? And like, I know, especially as of recently, I've kind of clocked myself doing this when we're talking about like cops getting killed because they get blown up or they get shot or whatever. It's hard for me to be like, oh man, I gotta really like give flowers for that. But at the same time, they are people. Their families do matter. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of, I guess, want to say a little bit of a sorry mea culpa on that. And I want to maybe try to do better. But also that I'm maybe still soul searching on that. And maybe that might just be subject to change. Look, I'm a piece of shit. And as much as I try, I know that ain't never going to fucking change. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Let's see here. Like I said, we don't really know, the motive, but they do have a suspect. So I imagine even though, Uribe is gone, there's still going to be an aftermath to this. Something like this is definitely going to be a boost to the right-wing party for sure. I'm sure they're just going to use this as momentum in some kind of way. But, we'll see what the fallout is. We'll see maybe if I get any updates on the fate of the shooter, and we'll come back to that. Yeah, sorry, I know we're kind of spiraling out here, but hey, it's the end of a long day for me. And that's where I will leave it for today. Let's see. If you would like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's a free action. Let's see. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars. 5-star reviews. Those are great. Those are useful. If not, don't leave one. And if you don't want to leave one, you don't want to do any of those other things, that's okay. I appreciate you listening. I think that's really cool. You've made it all the way to the end. That's wild. You're so crazy for that. I'm just talking shit at this point, and you're hanging out. That's fucking cool. I love you for that. You're fucking sweet for that. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.